Welcome to this deep dive. Today, we're doing something a little different. Not looking at studies or texts in the usual way.
Hmm.
Instead, we're kind of venturing into, well, the landscape of dreams, those journeys we take at night.
Yes, that fluid symbolic space.
Exactly. Think of this as listening in on a unique conversation, exploring symbols, feelings, all sparked by this idea, this shared feeling of a weightless escape.
A powerful image.
We have someone with us who's really attuned to that poetic language, sees the world in images, emotions.
And someone else who's bravely sharing their inner world, searching for meaning in those echoes.
Right. It's about letting insights emerge through metaphor, through intuition, maybe not strict logic today.
It's a landscape where feeling really guides us, doesn't it? Where waking logic kind of softens. And the symbols, well, they speak this ancient language.
So let's start there with the feeling itself. This person described a peculiar light floating high above a shadowy city. Weightless, sure, but also this undercurrent, almost dread, and just empty space below. No ground. What does that feeling of being ungrounded whisper to you?
Ungrounded.
Oh,
Yes, like a leaf caught on the wind, maybe.
release.
Released. The city below, in shadow.
Yeah.
Perhaps that's the foundation,
Yeah.
the memories, the structures we've left behind or buried deep down.
The things we don't consciously touch anymore.
Possibly.
Mm.
But they still shape the contours of our present, don't they? And
Yeah.
that void, that vast emptiness,
Mhm.
it's not necessarily negative. It could be that silent potential, the space before a thought even forms.
Okay.
So having no tether, no visible support, it speaks to this raw vulnerability, this utter reliance on what you can't see.
But here's the twist. Within that vulnerability, there wasn't outright fear. Apparently, there was a flicker of, well, a secret thrill and longing. It's such a mix.
Oh, that is fascinating. A secret thrill. Like a child pushing higher on a swing. That little jolt of forbidden joy.
Oh, maybe.
It can hint at desires we usually keep locked away, right? Yearnings for something beyond the everyday. And the longing, that pull,
Yeah.
suggests a part of the self reaching for something almost forgotten, something deep.
Then came this effortless gliding, the city blurring beneath, moving like a phantom. So different from how we usually struggle to move.
Effortless movement. Yes, that's classic dream logic. The mind freed from physical laws.
A release.
A kind of soaring where we're normally stuck in the ground. And the blurring city. Maybe the sharp edges of memory softening. The past becoming more fluid as we move away.
Moving further away, rising higher, the city eventually just faded. An endless horizon opened up. And then the question, was this escape or was it oblivion? That feels like a huge choice.
Ascent in dreams often mirrors that journey inward, doesn't it? Towards the deeper unconscious layers, that endless horizon.
Yeah.
Is a boundless possibility? Freedom?
There's something else.
Or is that very limitlessness terrifying? Like dissolving into nothing? The dreamer's right there, on that edge of perception.
And this climb was paired with a racing heart, that strange mix again, pain and pleasure. Prompting the freedom versus fear question once more, they seem so tightly bound.
They often are in dreams. Contradictions live side by side. The racing heart arousal, yes. But is it joy? Anxiety? Maybe both.
Right.
Perhaps freedom, true, untamed freedom, touches our deepest fears of the unknown. And pain mixed with pleasure.
Well, it speaks to the complexity of letting go. Sometimes releasing something involves a pang for what's lost.
One really vivid part was hearing a mournful wail, seemingly from everywhere and nowhere, but deeply familiar, and then realizing it came from within.
Ah, the internal cry. The voice of something held silent for so long, finally breaking through in the dream. Feeling it everywhere suggests it's not tied to one specific thing, maybe. More like an ambient sorrow, a deep resonance. And familiarity? It points to an old wound, perhaps, seeking acknowledgement.
Like a buried part finally speaking.
Perhaps the inner child, yes, finally uttering its pain. And after that, tears that wouldn't fall. Just suspended there, holding sadness, fear, and even relief all together. Emotions in stasis.
Tears that linger, like clouds full of rain that just won't break. That's suspension. It's being on the very edge of release, but something holds it back.
What might hold it back?
Well, perhaps the dreamer is nearing a confrontation with something big. Sadness, fear, relief. They're all present, but waiting. It's a truly liminal moment, feelings just hovering.
The movement continued, though, propelled by unseen forces, time stretching and bending. A surrender, it sounds like.
Being moved by unseen currents. Yes, that mirrors how our unconscious guides us, often in ways we don't grasp when we're awake. And time distorting. Well, in dreams, linear time dissolves, doesn't it?
Right, moments feel like forever or years vanish.
Exactly. It highlights how subjective our inner experience really is.
Then a fading sense of control, limbs feeling useless, thoughts slipping away like sand through fingers, almost like the self dissolving.
That loss of control often reflects waking moments where we feel overwhelmed, perhaps.
Yeah.
Where our usual coping mechanisms aren't working.
Makes sense.
Limbs without purpose. Maybe a feeling of powerlessness. Thoughts becoming fleeting. The conscious mind has to step back, allowing deeper, more intuitive stuff to surface.
And then this powerful inner voice emerges. A part that knows too much, remembers forgotten things. Holding all these conflicting desires, escape, hide, be free, return, disappear, exist, cease existing. Wow, a real internal battle.
That part that knows too much.
Yeah.
That's the wisdom of the unconscious, isn't it? Holding truths we don't easily access, and the conflicting desires.
Yeah.
Escape and return, exist and cease. That's the human heart, full of contradictions.
That's a Paul.
Of our deepest needs and fears just laid bare. And the question echoes, really, what do you want amidst all that inner conflict?
The dreamer then reflected on, well, maybe denying these desires, and how in that weightless space, masks just fell away, leaving this raw vulnerability.
The dream state is often a mirror, isn't it? Reflecting the parts of ourselves we hide, even from ourselves. Without gravity, literal or metaphorical, those facades crumble. We see the raw self underneath.
But even with all that, even with the fear, the dreamer saw darkness, yes, but also starlight. Found a strange beauty, peace even, in the terrifying freedom, and the sense that fleeing was also finding something.
Light in darkness. Yes, a timeless symbol of hope, resilience. Finding beauty within the terror suggests that growth often comes from facing our fears. And sometimes, yes, we do need to move away, create distance, to truly see what we've been looking for all along, like finding a lost star.
So this first part wraps up with that lingering question. Where are you running to? Or is it from? Does it even matter? Suspended between worlds. Just becoming. That sense of flux feels key.
Absolutely. It's pure potential. A pause between who we were and who we might be. In that suspension, the deeper self gets room to breathe, to reveal its truth.
Okay, moving into the second phase. This primal urge to leave surfaced, and it felt connected to a younger self, that instinctual drive that feels important.
Oh, very. That primal urge. It's survival, isn't it? Seeking safety, seeking change when something's wrong, and connecting it to the younger self. Well, that tells us these drives often stem from our earliest experiences. Childhood vulnerabilities, longings.
Childhood seemed to hang there like a shadow, a fragile inner child wanting to run from judgment, harsh words, maybe just disconnection. It sounds like an enduring sensitivity.
The child within, yes, that tender part carrying the imprints of our early world, the desire to flee judgment, harshness, silence. Those are echoes of past hurts. The instinct is to protect that core.
Specifically, the dreamer felt running was about escaping judgment, unwanted touch, or silence. Fragments whispering, leave, fly. Those specifics seem like clues.
Crucial clues, yes. These are the sensitive points, the places marked by past experience. And that persistent whisper, leave.
Yeah.
It suggests these unresolved feelings still have power, driving this need for liberation.
The flight itself carrying echoes of what were called twisted desires. Freedom, closeness, release, surrender, power, oblivion. But also this inability to name the real craving, such complex mix.
When desires feel twisted, it often means our true needs got obscured somehow. Freedom, closeness, release, fundamental longings.
Right.
But mixed with oblivion or a desperate need for power, that hints at a deeper struggle, maybe trying to reconcile conflicting impulses, not being able to name the core craving that suggests the surface desires might be masking something deeper.
The wind became really sensory. A gentle but relentless caress, stirring memories of skin on skin, dormant desires. It's amazing how sensations in dreams can unlock things.
The wind, it could be the breath of life, unseen forces. As a caress, gentle yet relentless, yes, it evokes intimacy, connection, maybe a longing for closeness that's been lost. A reminder of our deep need for touch.
Fleeting memories surface to connection, attraction, but tied up with fear. These wild, demanding desires and glimpses of a past or potential self, like confronting a less inhibited part.
Like glimpses into a hidden part of the self, yes. Where desires bloom freely, the fear alongside them. That's the vulnerability of allowing ourselves to want, to need so intensely. It's meeting a part of us that might feel too demanding, maybe a self we've tried to tame.
And fear was a constant companion on this flight, riding with desire. Fear of falling, failing, being seen, even seeing oneself, growing louder, higher up. A familiar song about limits, the inner critic.
Fears often desire shadow, isn't it? That resistance when we near our edges, fear of falling, failing, classic anxieties. But fear of being seen, truly witnessing oneself, that can be even deeper. And that familiar song of limits, oh yes, those ingrained beliefs whispering, don't reach too high, you're not capable.
The dreamer wondered how far they'd go to outrun that fear, and these looming faces, critical parent, dismissive friend, knowing lover, they cast long shadows.
Those faces, they represent the internalized voices from our past, don't they? The figures who shaped our self-perception. They become archetypes of judgment, dismissal, maybe even an intimacy that felt intrusive. Trying to outrun fear gets tangled with escaping those internalized scripts.
Yet, even while fleeing, something pulled back, a tether. To the life being escaped, maybe a promise, lost love, an unfaced truth. That resistance to letting go completely.
That tether. It symbolizes unresolved attachment, unfinished business, a promise, a lingering love, a truth avoided. They create this energetic pullback.
So running isn't just escaping.
Sometimes running is a form of remembering, isn't it? It keeps echoing what's been left undone or unsaid.
A hunger return, too. For everything.
Yeah.
Food, love, meaning, touch, power, peace. A gnawing emptiness that felt like nothing could fill it. That sounds fundamental.
That insatiable hunger. It often points to a deep, deep yearning. A void seeking fulfillment on so many levels, physical, emotional, spiritual. It suggests a core need hasn't been met, leaving this persistent inner ache.
Then this huge realization. The hunger wasn't separate, it was the dreamer. The wanting blurred into being. Desire and fear, two sides of one coin, driving this search for salvation, destruction, something else.
The merging of the hunger with the self.
Yeah.
That shows how fundamental it is. Desire and fear, not opposites, but intertwined. The engine driving the whole search for resolution, whether that looks like healing or self-sabotage or just ongoing seeking.
It was suggested that deep down, the answer is known symbolically, that this flight is also a return journey to the abandoned self, denied desires, outrun fears, that inner child. So it's reclamation.
Exactly. The dream, in its own language, guides the dreamer back to those fragmented parts. The neglected, suppressed, left behind pieces of the self. It's an invitation to gather them, tend the wounds, reintegrate the disowned bits, to move toward wholeness.
But finding that isn't easy. The dreamer knew it requires facing the avoided stuff. Anger, sadness, shame, but also joy, love, need. All these scattered pieces starting to gather, like stars forming constellations, telling forgotten stories. It's about embracing it all.
The full spectrum, yes. We try to suppress feelings, they become scattered, disconnected. But like stars, when we acknowledge each fragment, they start forming meaningful patterns, lighting up our hidden narratives.
Which leads to that resonant concluding question for this part. Can you feel them pulling at you, calling you home? Or are you still too afraid to listen, too afraid to land, too afraid to stay? That's a powerful challenge.
It's a moment of reckoning, really. Urging the dreamer.
Yeah.
Are you ready to turn towards what you fled? To face the fear? To embrace the possibility of finding peace, belonging, right here within yourself?
Okay, the final part of this journey. The sky starts shifting. Softer light, the air changes, a faint hum, a sense of being called back, a turning point.
The changing sky. Often a signal of transition in the dream, a shift in awareness. Softer light suggests, well, a gentler perspective maybe. Being called back to oneself, a return to center after the outward flight.
The wind slows down, becomes a gentle inward pull, and prompts this really direct question. Who are you? Stripping everything else away.
The wind is now guiding inward, isn't it? An internal nudge towards introspection. And that question, who are you? Beneath the roles, the expectations, it's fundamental. An invitation to connect with the core self.
And the dreamer doesn't look away, lets it linger, considers the self beneath the masks, the one who dreams, desires, fears, flees, soars, falls, accepting all of it.
To really meet that question, acknowledging all the facets, light and shadow, strengths and vulnerability, that's huge for self-acceptance. The dream provides that safe space for the whole self to be seen.
The horizon softens more, warmer colors appear, an inner door opens, and the shadows inside now feel tender. Familiar. That sounds like healing.
The softening landscape, the warmer colors, it signifies an emotional thawing, maybe, tension releasing, and an inner door opening to shadows that feel tender. Yes, that speaks volumes about accepting parts previously rejected or feared. They're not alien anymore, they're becoming integrated.
Thoughts turn to the childhood self, believing, exploring, infinite, wondering if that part is still remembered. The inner child reaches out. That feels like a key moment of reconnection.
The memory of the child. Such a potent reminder of our innate capacity for wonder, possibility, a self less hemmed in by fear. The child reaching out. It's a call for tenderness, for nurturing that original spark.
Then these untethered words drift by. Stay, go, breathe. Felt not like orders, but gentle invitations to pause, listen, feel, just exist without judgment.
Those are essential instructions, aren't they? Strip bare, stay be present, go, allow change, breathe, connect to life itself. Invitations to a more mindful, accepting way of being.
And the understanding dawns. This whole flight wasn't really about escaping the outside world. It was an internal discovery, a fundamental shift.
Exactly. What felt like running away turns out to be a journey towards the core self. The dream's outer landscape was just the canvas for this inner story unfolding.
The body starts to feel different, too. Heavier, but not burdened. Grounded, but not trapped. Gravity feels like a welcome embrace now, not a restriction. Descending with intention. Even the void feels supportive. That's a huge perceptual shift.
That changed perception. It signals an integration of the dream's lessons, doesn't it? The body, once maybe a limitation, is now felt as grounded and free. Even the emptiness feels supportive, suggesting a growing trust in that inner space, in the journey itself.
The city reappears, lights like distant stars, buildings like monuments, patterns are recognized, but the old names don't matter as much, hovering there with a sense of choice, returning, but changed.
Returning to the familiar, but seeing it through new eyes. The patterns are there, but the old labels, the old attachments, they have less power. Hovering suggests agency, right? A choice in how to re-engage after that deep dive inward.
So the question arises, go back fully to the old life, or linger in this twilight space, the pull between the known and this new perspective.
That reflects the ongoing work, doesn't it? Integrating the dream's insights into waking life. The allure of the transformed inner world alongside the pull of the familiar. How do you bridge them?
But the question gets reframed, which feels important. How do you carry the dream's essence, the weightlessness, freedom, fear, hunger, desire, shadow into waking life? Remembering that inner flight is always possible. It's about embodying it.
Precisely. That's the challenge and the gift. Translating the dream's symbolic resonance into everyday existence. Keeping that inner spaciousness, that understanding gained in the liminal state.
Brighter stars appear in the sky, a reminder of something ancient, vast, beyond the individual self, feeling both tiny and huge, a speck and a spark, connectedness.
The stars, symbolizing our link to the cosmos, something timeless, expansive, feeling small and large. That beautiful paradox of human existence, our individual significance within the vast web of life.
The dream starts to fade, city dissolves, wind quiets, body stills. Transitioning back to wakefulness, alive, aware, but with that lingering echo of flight, heights, freedom imprinted. The impact remains.
That gentle return? But the imprint is still there, isn't it? A subtle but powerful reminder of the inner landscape explored, the insights gained.
Eyes open. The weight of the world returns, sun on skin, pulse beating. But deep knowing. The flight was real, the landing was real, and this quiet becoming, that's real too. The dream's validity is felt.
Affirming the dream's reality.
Yeah.
It underscores its power. Even though it happened in the unconscious realm, its emotional transformative impact is undeniable. It shapes our waking perception.
And the final thought left hanging. What will you do now? Acknowledging it's complex, but trusting an inner knowing, the dream's quiet guidance. Whispers, echoes, truth from within, moving forward differently.
What will you do now?
Yeah.
Yes, the natural combination. Trusting that inner guidance, the dream's lingering wisdom that becomes the compass for navigating what comes next. Listening to the subtle language of the self.
It's really quite remarkable how these inner journeys, these dreams that seem so fleeting, can offer such profound, immediate understanding, a direct line to our deepest feelings, motivations.
Absolutely. By tuning into that symbolic language, we find this intuitive path to self-knowledge. It kind of bypasses the loops of conscious thought, tapping straight into unconscious wisdom.
So, for you listening, think about your own moments of weightlessness, maybe those flying dreams you've had. What feelings were there? What might those experiences be whispering about your own desires for, say, liberation? And maybe the vulnerabilities that come with that.
This exploration really invites a wider reflection, doesn't it? What aspects of yourself symbolized perhaps by the city, the sky, the flight we talked about, might you be ready to acknowledge now, to nurture, or to integrate more fully into your waking life?
Powerful thoughts to sit with. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into the dream world.
It has been a truly illuminating journey. Thank you.